This, ladies and gentlemen, is the design. It is a plan for a military base in Mali. But even more than a design, it is a challenge. And it is a challenge because this here was the area where it was to be built. The remote and very hot area of Gao in Mali. Ladies and gentlemen, during heavy showers such as 2 weeks ago, or maybe even today, a lot of us may wonder what climate change may bring about in the Netherlands. And while we worry about worsening climate effects in the Netherlands, in Mali, peak temperatures go as high as 53 degrees. In Afghanistan, temperatures can vary from 15 to 45 degrees in one day. How do military engineers build their bases in climates like this? How do they overcome those challenging conditions? And what may we all learn from it? I'm a soldier, but I'm also an engineer. Soldiers continue under conditions where others quit, because the assignment comes first. And engineers create things to improve the conditions that we all live in. I am a company commander in the Dutch Royal Engineers, exactly because I like the challenge of combining those two. It is my unit and my own drive to work in teams that rely on each other unconditionally and to solve problems under difficult circumstances. Like here. This teamwork so far has brought me from Afghanistan to Mali and from Kosovo to Iraq. But my first real mission was very close by, in the town of Hasselt. It was 1997 and I was still in the military academy when this part of Overijssel came under threat of flooding. And we were building an emergency dike along the river in small groups and in the pouring rain with the water rising on one side, coming closer and closer. And along came a grumpy old man on a bike who was talking down to us like, "You should have learned a real profession, boys." And a lot of my fellow cadets were angry at this man because of his talking down to us. But I felt funny about how mistaken he was, because right there I was learning a real profession. And at the same time, our team was doing something challenging and meaningful in our own country. Today, this is still the reason why I am in the military. For the teamwork to do something meaningful and to overcome challenging conditions. And we build our bases in challenging climates and in extreme areas that are mountainous like this one, or with lack of water, maybe long and intense sunlight, or very heavy rain. And these areas may also be remote and isolated, so local resources will be limited. And these climates may also be extreme in another sense, unwelcoming or even hostile, because a violent opponent may be actively working to make our conditions even worse. We face these challenges with teamwork, teams of well-trained professional soldiers, with leadership and with a thought-through process for decision-making and planning. And the area where this was perhaps most clear was Gao in Mali. After the French intervention stopped the heaviest fighting, the United Nations deployed a mission into Mali to help and stabilize the country and to assist in the political process of coming to peace. And this mission was still in its starting phase when the Dutch government decided to take part. Our unit was given the task to prepare, deploy, and build the base for the rest of the Netherlands contingent. With few weeks before departure, we had little time to lose. Now we all go to Mali for a moment, and I promise we will be back in time. And as you can see, Mali is a very large, landlocked country in northern Africa, and it has a very limited population. and an economy that is only slightly larger than half of the Zwolle region. The capital is the large southern city of Bamako, a vibrant city along the river Niger. And we can get there after 8 hours of flying from Paris. But we will not be staying here. Instead, we fly on by small UN airplanes to reach the northern desert town of Gao, 2.5 hours of flying in the north. We land on the old tarmac of the airfield, just outside of town, and with the building site really close by. It's 11 o'clock in the morning, and 35 degrees already. It's winter. Right now it is very dry, but we know that very heavy rainfall can occur, flooding parts of the area. And it is our mission to build a temporary village here for 400 people, 4 helicopters in 4 months. Now, where do we start? We suppress the urge to start straight away, and instead we quickly analyze the task ahead. We make designs and construction plans. And when we communicate these plans, we tell our soldiers what to achieve and why, rather than how, mobilizing their own initiative and resourcefulness. But these challenging conditions remain. What can we do about that? One of the most challenging features of this site is the sheer remoteness of it. As a single person with a backpack, we could travel there in 2 days. But only small planes can land here. So air cargo will easily take a week to arrive. Larger items will have to go by boat. That's 3 weeks to the nearest harbor, and 3 to 4 weeks again by road. Now this road turns bad after leaving Bamako. And the Mali economic logistics sector is not very large. So this would be bad enough already, but our scenario analysis shows us that we will not be the only ones trying to get containers to Gao. The United Nations just contracted out the building of a large base to a civilian contractor. The sizable Chinese contingent is still bringing its materials in. And the French are expected to relocate a lot of their equipment, all along the same deteriorated road with the same few Mali trucks. So we can expect logistic delay and unreliability of supply. But we are engineers. What can we do about it? Well, to start, we design for maximum use of local materials. And all essential items would have to be small and air transportable by small aircraft, such as the electrical system. We also made the design scalable in quantity and function, so if items get delayed, at least a part of the system can work. We make robust planning and contingency plans. And if all else fails, we improvise, like on the left. Another challenging feature of this site is the temperature. From less than 20 to 53 degrees in the shade, 64 or even higher in the sun. Not all of you may read it, but it's surely there, 64. And some of you may already be feeling unwell. Unfortunately, the heat itself cannot be reduced, but exposure can. We use a siesta system, we are physically well trained, we drink lots of water, we have air conditioning. Yes, that will keep us working. But the most important part of this all is the team. So you will all have to take care of each other during the day to prevent heat stress. And this heat is not only testing us, it's also testing our equipment to the limit. Engines, generators, but also the black water and sewage piping. It would heat up so much during the day that expansion would run into meters rather than centimeters. I'm sure this was straight in the morning, but this picture is the afternoon. So we have to cover it during construction to prevent damage. And another challenge that is quite unlikely at 53 degrees is having too much water. But the short and heavy rainfall will turn the soil impregnable, and living and working areas would flood. So to prevent this, we built these areas above ground on the slight slope, so the rain will run off. And we kept some space between those areas and the road to collect the rainwater and give it the time to drain into the sand slowly instead of eroding the soil, like here. Unfortunately, it is time to go back to the Netherlands and leave Mali. But we bring along our Mali experience to the Netherlands. The value of leadership, teamwork, and good planning. And we also used in Mali the concept of criticality analysis to stay focused on the mission's most essential elements. We built vivid scenarios to prepare for adverse conditions and scarcity, to expect the unexpected, so to say. And both concepts can be useful in the Netherlands as well, to help and guide our efforts to the most essential elements of our city's complex systems. Also in Mali, we appointed the devil's advocate to challenge our planning and to keep an open mind. And since you don't know what you don't know, such a devil's advocate may also be useful in making our Dutch disaster prevention and response planning even better. And also the concept of force protection can be useful outside of a military context. It is not about guns and body armor. It is about protecting what is essential in a complex system and accepting calculated risk in other areas. I personally found out the worth of this experience in the summer of 2013, when the river Elbe was flooding parts of eastern Germany, and we were called in to assist. In the area near Torgau, there was a dike that needed reinforcement to keep the area dry. And it was a critical spot, so it was crowded with local civilians, contractors, fire brigade, German army units. But like in Mali, we started with mission analysis. And to us it seemed that not the dike itself was the problem, but the sand supply. The area was so crowded that traffic would jam and the dump trucks carrying the sand would stuck. So to solve this, we got together with the other teams and divided the area into sectors. And we agreed to reorganize supply and set up traffic control points. And this way, we could triple the output without much extra effort. Also, from our analysis, we knew that civil engineering structures could deteriorate and eventually fail. To prevent this, we regularly checked our sector of dike, including its structures. And this way we were able to reinforce this sluice that was already deteriorating, just in time. It was our shared will to succeed that brought ourselves together, shoulder to shoulder, with the German army and the German civilians. We worked flat out for days on end, but it did make a difference, and the area was saved. And although this was a great thing to be part of, it was still purely reactive. I'm sure that using the available experience beforehand could have saved the Germans and ourselves a lot of effort. And the same may be true within the Netherlands. Ladies and gentlemen, the future will likely bring more extreme conditions to our cities. And it are those conditions that challenge us to think, prepare, and act for our citizens' future security. Our military engineering approach and experience can help. Let's use this experience not only in the conflicted areas, but right here in our own backyards. Together with the experience from policemen, firefighters, and industrial and governmental safety organizations, there is no challenge we can't face. We serve the country. Let's serve by sharing our expertise for the benefit of all, and to help and deal with climate change effects everywhere. From the desert to the city, it's just a small step.